Before we get into the video, I would like you all to pretty much follow me on my social media. The links will be in the description. And yeah, can you go ahead and follow me, subscribe to my channel, like the video, leave a comment and everything. And yeah, so pretty much today's theory is going to be about who is actually the traitor at UHA. And it's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, let's go. Now, this is going to be a pretty short list, but because I don't really have too many people to actually accuse here, but I have enough evidence to back myself up. So, first of all, this is the first person on my list. Vlad King is one of the people that I actually accuse. His quirk actually enables him to use the blood in his body and pretty much manipulate it how he wants to, whether it be an attack or a trap or anything. And honestly, what I have against him is in the forest, pretty much the villains, he pretty much caught the Dobby clone, but honestly, after that, we don't really see too much of him afterwards. We already know that he is pretty much the teacher of Class 1B, but that's as pretty much as we have. But we already know that Class 1B has a grudge against Class 1A because Class 1A pretty much gets the spotlight. Now, could he really be manipulating behind the scenes a little bit to pretty much put Class 1A in the dirt? I don't really think so, but it could be, a slight possibility. But the one thing that I did want to point out was his quirk. It deals with blood. And the only other person that we know's quirk that deals with blood is Himiko Toga. And as we already know, quirks can either be passed down exactly, or they can have a similar, working to them. But I mean, both of their quirks deal with blood. So I think he probably went home and said something about it, or maybe told her directly, and that's how they knew where they were. But this pretty much follows up behind Himiko because she's the only other person so far who actually has a blood quirk. And it's not exactly like Vlad King's, but it's pretty much dealing with blood. And what her quirk is, basically she can use blood to actually look like a person and like simulate their voice, and pretty much a cup of blood can pretty much make her be like that for a whole day. And this may be to her advantage and may be an account with Vlad King. But not just that, she can also drink other people's blood and interchange between them. So she actually made herself be the traitor at UHA. So, but there's also an accountability that she's still working with Vlad King. Now, she doesn't necessarily have to be his daughter. She could be a part of the family, maybe his niece or something. But I mean, they got to be related somehow to have such close quirks. But somebody really needs to hit this girl. But all jokes aside, this girl is really crazy, and she could actually be, the traitor, because she was supposed to collect blood from other people anyway. This could probably be for her own needs to actually infiltrate UHA, or it could be for the Nomus or something. I don't know. It pretty much depends. But yeah, she's really crazy. But here's another person that I have. Now, Principal Nezu is, of course, the principal of UHA, and I actually had to go back to watch an earlier season to find out that he was an actual animal experimented on and somehow developed a quirk. Like, he's the only animal in the world with a quirk. And no, he's not human who developed animal-like features. He's an actual animal. And this is pretty rare for him to even get a quirk. Here's like an example of a cat policeman who's actually a human but developed his quirk later to actually have cat-like features. We also see that with the dog detective. But yeah, so people can develop quirks that make them have animal features. Principal Nezu, on the other hand, started out as an actual animal but just developed a quirk, and it doesn't really explain how he actually gets a quirk. But the only thing that I can think of is maybe the scientist and All For One gave him a quirk and probably sent him to infiltrate UHA. Now, we actually don't know how long he's actually been the principal there, but we do know that he does have his sadistic ways, especially that we saw in the final exam. And he's pretty much smarter than most humans, and that's pretty much the detail about his quirk. He's very smart. He's a very high intellect. because during the final exam, he was able to pinpoint the student's location with knocking down buildings and knowing where they would end up with the damage, and that takes a lot of knowledge and logic, and that's pretty smart. And he may have already thought of what could happen in the possible future, how to tiptoe around situations. He just may actually be the traitor at UHA, especially he was the one to actually bring it up. No one else at the table actually brought up who else the traitor could actually be besides him. Now, this could pretty much shift the blame to anyone else besides him, because people would think, well, if he's actually the traitor, he wouldn't have brought it up, but that's probably what he would want you to think. You already know that he's pretty smart. He might have already thought this up to begin with, and honestly, we just might find out that he actually just might be the traitor himself. Another person that I can think of that's probably the traitor is Nato Monoma. He has a high grudge against Class 1A and has the quirk Copy. This quirk pretty much can copy other quirks and can leave a duration up to 5 minutes where he can interchange between them, but only use one quirk at a time. Now, he pretty much resembles All For One, of course, with quirks, not looks, because we haven't really seen him too much yet. But a quirk pretty much fits within this category. Now, it may have been given to him and maybe mixed with his own, enabling to really have a 5-minute time limit, but they're too close to pretty much look, past. I mean, they almost have the same quirk. It's just his really just has a time limit. And I mean, he could honestly be the traitor who actually infiltrated UHA. But could a grudge against Class 1A fuel him to pretty much double cross the whole school, lead to death, to destruction? It possibly could, which I wouldn't really see why, but I mean, this could be kind of a good plot, but you can't just look past the fact that All For One and his copy quirk are kind of almost the same thing. But here we go to the last person and who could actually be the real traitor. I hate to do this, but Uraraka could actually be the traitor, and I have a really good reason. As we know, her parents have a construction company, and they're kind of broke at the moment. And she only went to UHA to pretty much get her hero license and pretty much get funded and money. That was her only reason for becoming a hero. Now, that fits its own reason as well, but here she could have actually been selling out UHA to the League of Villains for her own personal gain. Now, with all the damages and maybe a few casualties, her parents would be able to swoop in, fix all the damages, and they would pretty much have money back, because her only reason for actually joining UHA was just to get money. And this is probably her only reason for doing this, and probably the only door that she could see without actually having to exert energy being a hero. And I know it sounds very sadistic, but we can't leave too many people out of the equation here. This pretty much backs up, her motive to pretty much double cross UHA. And for plot, it would pretty much break Midoriya's heart. I mean, he kind of likes her already, but she actually might have caught feelings for him, and she pretty much wants to deny it because she already knows her plan, and she may have a plan for him to either get hurt or die, or maybe the whole class to die. We don't know. But this is wild. I mean, you guys gotta tell me down below in the comments who you actually think the traitor is. Me, honestly, I really do think it's Principal Nezu. But we'll actually see in the future. So subscribe to my channel, like the video, and yeah, see you guys later.